Yo, it's your boy Remy D coming at you on behalf of the Eggs and Bacon of Pro Wrestling and Sports Podcast, E's and B's. I'm doing this a favor as to him because, he's a nice guy and all, but realistically, you got to have the Remy in support of anything that you're doing. Why do you ask? Because I'm the overseer of everything that's worth the coin, the gold, pretty much anything. This is all gold, baby. So if you want to get winning, if you want to get in it, if you want to win, get you a Remy D in your life. Why? See, your problem is because you're faking. You're faking it until you're making it. But you faked it so long that you don't know how to make it. Let me put that into a more simpler term for you. Remy D, 24 karat gold, baby. And you just gold plated. But anyway, tune into this podcast next time and take a whiff of it. Peace.
Good morning, all you wrestling and sports fans. This is the E's and B's, the Bacon and Eggs of Pro Wrestling Sports Podcast. And I'm your host, Eddie B. Welcome back. Happy Friday. Glad to have you here. 2 more Fridays left in 2020. That's right. 2 more Fridays with me, Eddie B. Man, it's so glad to have you back on this beautiful Friday. Getting closer to Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Hanukkah starting yesterday. All kinds of great and crazy things coming up today on the E's and B's. I got a special guest. Somebody that's traveling all the way to Iowa. I also got a bunch of things to talk about on the wrestling side. But we're going to get things started off first, right here on the sunny side up with the sports. All right, folks. Got a lot of things to talk about this week. We're going to dive right into the NFL, Week 13. What a week it was. We're going to dive right, like we do always, every week, right into 4 games. We'll talk about the winners, what we think going forward. Also, dive into a little bit of NCAA football, NCAA basketball. That's right, basketball is back again on E's and B's, this time in the college form. We're only going to dive just a little bit into it. After that, we'll also talk about all 5 brands. We know we had some special things happening this week. And going into the meat segment, like I said, special guest. After that, we're going to scramble things up, talk about what could be, what should be, and everything in between. And after that, I'll bring in Lauren on the toast. But that's right, let's start right in the NFL, folks. The Giants this last Sunday squeaking one out over the Seahawks, 17-12. That's right, the Giants, folks. The team that's leading that division with maybe, 5 wins? Good grief. I can't believe it. After that, we had another crazy game. The Patriots, which playing last night with the Rams, but last week they smashed the Chargers 45-0, but didn't show up last night. Don't know the story there. I'm not sure if that was the small turnaround or what that could be, but I just want to know, or I just got to note this, that was the largest loss in history for the Chargers. That's right, 45-0. Wish it could have been somebody else that beat them. Anyways, after that, the third game I want to talk about, my Dolphins getting a win over the Bengals. Now, not so much that it was a big game. What I want to talk about was what happened during the game. 5 people ejected, 2 different fights. We had a guy from the Bengals who had 2 hits on a guy waiting on the punt, illegally. Just chaos. But what I want to talk about is my coach, Brian Flores, not putting up with it. That's right, folks. He marched right across the field and got in the face of the Bengals to let them know that that was incorrect and not proper. And, after seeing that, I hope he's the coach for the Dolphins until I die. Because that right there, folks, is a true coach. That's right. But like I said, they get the win over the Bengals, 19-7, going into a big game this Sunday against the Chiefs. We'll have to see what happens there. After that, the last game I want to talk about, it's another one that puts a smile on all the faces of the 72 Dolphins. That's right, the Washington football team shocked the world and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The undefeated no more. That's right, folks. The Steelers suffer their first loss to the Washington football team. Let's give it up to Alex Smith. Comeback player of the year, playing pretty good since, they finally put him in like 5 games into the season. He's got this team turned around, and they might be the contenders with the Giants going forward. Once again, that division's messed up with 5 wins. They're going to, be leading the divisions. Silly to me. After that, folks, the rest of the winners for last week. Browns, the Raiders by luck. As we all know, the Jets choked again. 0-16. That's what they're going for. Vikings, Colts, Lions, Saints, Rams, Packers, Chiefs, Bills, and the Ravens got another win on Tuesday night. All right, we're moving right on with the football theme into the college top 10 AP poll so far going into this week. Still not very happy about it, but it goes as follows. Up 2 spots at number 10 is Iowa State, which is bizarro world. If you got any thoughts on that, please feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe, follow us at E's and B's. I'd love to hear what you guys think about all these lists I'm about to read off, as well as all the topics that we talk about here. Also, if you follow us at e'sandb's.com, you know that we also have unboxings every month. Give away free swag, folks. Free swag. That's right. We got a lot of stuff going on here at E's and B's. So follow us, like, share, subscribe. Anyways, after that, we got number 9, Miami. Up 2 spots. That's right. Finally, they're hearing me out. They need to be up 2 more spots. But the Hoosiers at number 8. At number 7, staying flat. Cincinnati, 6, which now is technically into the playoffs here. Florida, 5, Texas A&M, 4, Clemson, 3, Ohio State. What a stinker that is. No, just kidding. Number 2, Notre Dame, and once again, for the umpteenth million week in a row, Alabama, number 1. Guys, it really looks like we're going into the playoffs with a Notre Dame, Alabama, Clemson, and probably Ohio State situation. Now, granted, we know that the Big Ten changed the rules, allowing Ohio State to play in the championship game with only playing in 5 games. Pony sticks. But that's okay. Hopefully IU can squeeze in there too and shock the world because they were only 1 touchdown away. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, IU is a very good team. They're overlooked. They're getting better year by year. I just can't wait. I hope they keep that coach and things go up, up, up. Well, after that, folks, like I said, we're going to dive into NCAA basketball. That's right. A lot of teams haven't played. A lot of teams have played. Some teams only a couple of games. We're only going to dive in just to, like the football, the top 10 each week. We'll just talk a little bit about it. I want to hear from you guys out there. If you guys think the AP polls are right, what should be changed, what shouldn't be changed, let me know. I agree with most of it. I don't agree with all of it, obviously. The football's a little shaky, and the basketball's even worse. But let's just get things started with number 10. A team that is 2-2 and complaining day by day because they keep losing. That's Duke. Number 9, Villanova at 4-1. Number 8, Creighton, 3-1. Number 7, Houston. Now they're 4-0. Not too shabby, but let's just take consideration who they have played and who they haven't played. Number 6, out of the Big Ten, the 4-1 Illini. At 5, the Kansas Jayhawks at 5-1. And number 4, another Big Ten school, Michigan State. They're 5-0. Number 3, Iowa. That's right, another Big Ten school, 4-0. At 2, it's Baylor, 4-0. And at number 1, as suspected, Gonzaga at 3-0. Like I said, folks, everybody's played a different amount of games. A lot of things are going on with this crazy COVID stuff. We all know that. I just keep my nose to the grind. I kind of try to avoid it as much as possible. I hate talking about it. I know it's real. I know it's out there. But, I just enjoy that we actually still have sports going on. Let's be thankful for that. Coming off the last month, the thankful month. Let's just give it all we got this month. And like I said, here on the E's and B's, we're giving away every week, a new item. Last week, we gave away a shirt. We got a winner for that. This week, pay attention. Coming tomorrow, there's going to be a new video. I can't tell you what it is. It's a surprise. It is the season of giving. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up the sports side of things. Let's jump right into everybody's favorite, the wrestling portion. Woo-wee, what kind of week did we have? Well, we had an outstanding one, that's right. If you listen to any of the other podcasts out there, that's the big talk all week long was obviously Kenny Omega and Impact. We'll dive into that here in just a little bit. But, coming off of War Games, NXT had an okay show. But I want to say it was down between SmackDown and AEW for Show of the Week for me. And I'll let you know what that is going to be here later on in the Scrambled Eggs. But let's start off with last Friday's SmackDown. Roman Reigns, once again, starting the show off. And, the poor girl that was doing the announcing at the beginning didn't address him correctly, and he let her know it. Paul Heyman had to let her know how to correctly pronounce the champion's name, and it got pretty interesting from there all the way through the show. Let me just run through some of all the matches here, give you the winners, maybe talk just a little bit what happened. They started the show off with Natty getting a win over Bayley. Well, Bayley had to be distracted, right? Well, that's right. She was distracted by Bianca Belair, who was ringside for the whole fight. After that, they had Big E, Daniel Bryan, and Rey Mysterio getting a six-man match or tag match win over Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, and Nakamura. You know me, I'm not a big fan of these 6- and 8-man tags. It seems like a lot here recently. The script has flipped. If you listen to the E's and B's podcast, I've been complaining about the AEW show putting on too many of those matches. Well, now it seems like WWE has taken the thunder from them, and now they're putting them on every week on every program. So just a thought out there. Let's stick to the regular tag and singles matches. Just saying. After that, Baron Corbin getting a big win over Buddy Murphy, who had got the win prior to him, if you listened last week, with the Mysterio family at his side. But this week, Baron Corbin had 2 henchmen to help him out. That's right, 2 dudes giving Baron Corbin a little assistance to get the win over Buddy Murphy. That's right, I said it, Buddy Murphy. After that, it was the main event of the evening. Well, it was what we all were looking forward to. It was Kevin Owens and Otis. Shout out to Otis, RMP. After Roman Reigns, Jey Uso in a tag match. And what we thought was going to be a great match turned out a little scary. At the end, of course, the DQ was called due to the fact Roman Reigns putting on the chokehold and not letting go when he wasn't the legal man. All kinds of chaos happened. Chairs getting involved. And for the second week in a row, my man Otis getting smashed with some chairs and some stairs. Crazy talk, man. I hate to see Otis getting beat up like this, but it is good to see him getting his little licks in with the big dog. You know, he's in there on the main event. You can't complain. So shout out to Otis on that. But Kevin Owens, Otis do get the win, like I said, by DQ. After the match, a little bit of jawing going on, and Roman Reigns letting Kevin Owens and the world know they all have his attention now. So be interesting to see what happens tonight on SmackDown. I'm pretty pumped. They've had 2 to 3 good shows in a row. Let's hope they keep the momentum rolling. Let's keep our momentum rolling, and we'll jump right into Monday night. That was Raw. And Randy started the show out just like Roman Reigns did on SmackDown, coming to the ring to discuss a little bit of what's going on in his world, and that's The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Well, he believes he's in their head. We'll see what happens going forward at TLC just next weekend. They started the show off with Asuka getting a win over Shayna Baszler with Lana and Nia Jax at ringside. These 4 are still, at each other's throats. And it seems that Asuka and Lana keep getting the better of the champs. So pretty interesting to see what's going to happen going forward. I know they're going to have something at TLC. So let me know what you guys think, if you're tired of this feud or if you're interested in seeing if they're going to put the belts on Lana and Asuka be a double champ. It'll be pretty cool to see. After that, they have one of my least favorite things besides a bunch of 8 and 6-man tag matches. That's right, it's a mixed gender tag. Sorry, folks, not a huge fan of these. I do know that the crowd and some other people do love this, but in my opinion, it just doesn't hit the palate, if you know what I mean. But in this one, Dana Brooke and Ricochet get the win over Slapjack and Mia Yim. Shocker. Another Retribution loss. Are they still a thing? Is that a thing? I don't know. Tell me, because I'm tired of even talking about it. After that, Kofi Kingston challenged in a singles match, getting the win over Shelton Benjamin. But after the match, Cedric Alexander was not happy about the situation and instantly challenged him into another match. And it went down. Just a little bit later, Cedric Alexander unfortunately got the win over Kofi this time. So Kofi went 1 for 1. This thing is boiling between the Hurt Business and the New Day, and things are going to come to head eventually here. It'll be interesting to see what happens. After that, Miz Morrison and AJ Styles in a handicap tag match get the win over McIntyre and Sheamus. Oh, man. Once again, kind of weird scenario, but we all know the storyline, so we'll see how this thing shakes out. Unfortunately, McIntyre just kind of lost in that world right now where he's not the top thing to talk about at WWE, in my opinion. All the talk is definitely either about Roman Reigns and the Uso family or over there at NXT. That's just my opinion. After that, they had Bobby Lashley getting a win over Jeff Hardy. Then the main event of the evening, what we saw at the beginning, Bray Wyatt challenged by Randy Orton, and The Fiend was not allowed to show. But did you think that was going to happen, or did you think that was not going to happen? Let's be honest, folks. Anytime Bray Wyatt's around, he's outnumbered. He's going to bring The Fiend into the situation, and of course it happened. So it was a no contest. I just know that this is going to be a good one coming at TLC. I want to see what comes between Randy Orton and The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. The storyline's been, the only thing that's kept me interested over there at Raw. Let's be honest. I like the Mysterio storyline as well, the family storyline, but it's just not enough to keep me 100% interested when it's 3 hours long. So that wrapped up Raw. Sorry I mixed up a few things there, but let's jump right into what everybody was waiting for in the wrestling world. It was Impact on Tuesday night. Yeah, that's right. Don Callis and Kenny Omega with the special announcement they were going to have after Kenny Omega robbed the AEW title from Jon Moxley just a week prior. Well, they started the show out, obviously showing what happened to AEW and drug it out for the whole entire show like we knew they would. So let me just run through what the matches they had, and then we'll talk a little bit about what Don Callis and Kenny Omega had to say. The first match they had Chris Sabian in a singles match getting a win over Josh Alexander. By far, my opinion, if not the best match of the night, the second best match of the night, in my opinion. Let's just say. But the next match wasn't too shabby in itself, but just wasn't the best. Brian Myers got the win over TJP. I love both those guys, but right now Brian Myers just is too serious for me, and it's hard for me to get into the character he is right now as the most professional wrestler. He just comes off as a tag team dude, and I don't know. Something's not getting it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here a little bit later on the Scrambled Egg segment. Maybe we can change some of that. After that, they had another crazy match. Eric Young with his boy Joe on his side comes to halt and fights with Cody Deaner, but Cody Deaner, let's face it, he put up a good match. He didn't back down. He stood tall, but he did not get the win. Cousin Jake was told not to interfere. So another weird storyline, and they've got some things coming to head this weekend at Final Resolution, so we'll see what happens there. After that, the Knockouts Tag Tournament Round 1 was underway. Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary got the win over Kimberly and Donna Purrazzo. Now, Donna Purrazzo is the Knockouts champion, and she was a little upset about losing there. She's not used to losing. So we'll keep our eye on that situation there. We know that they're going to have the semifinals this Saturday on the Final Resolution. So, like I said, we'll keep our eye on that. After that, it was the main event of the evening, which was probably the best match of the night. Like I said earlier, there was a match that topped the Chris Sabian-Josh Alexander match, and it was this one. It was Chris Bay and Moose getting the win over Willie Mack and Rich Swann. They put on a good show. Moose is there strictly for business and business only. And he showed it. He didn't really need a tag partner, didn't want a tag partner, and was, there to handle the business, get things taken care of. It was a good back and forth match. I liked it. After it was all said and done, we of course went out to the famous bus where Don Callis and Kenny Omega waited. And, they kept us on our seat all night. And all I want to say before, we talked just a little bit about this was I was super excited as a fan because there's so many opportunities. We'll talk about that in the Scrambled Egg segment. But, I was just pretty pumped the fact that, the new AEW heel champion was kind of on the run. So, they really Josh didn't get any questions asked nor answered, basically, from Don Callis or Kenny. They talked about their plan. They explained that this has been a plan for many, many years. They're not there just for the fun of it. They're there to write history. And I quote, Don Callis says, "Just remember, guys, in this business, some make memories, but only one person makes history. So, that's coming from Don Callis, the guy that is involved at Impact. He's partnered with the AEW Heavyweight Champion, and now they claim they're going to be traveling champions. So, I don't know. We didn't get very much out of it, what their plan going forward was going to be. And as we'll talk about here in just a minute, not much changed on Wednesday night. So, moving right forward here, we'll jump into the NXT, which was the follow-up show from War Games. They did a very nice vignette, showed everybody's injuries, talked about some injuries. That's one thing we talk about here on the E's and B's podcast, is that we hate some of the silly injuries that happen. But most of these injuries were in the heat of battle and let's just say could have been avoided, but, it was part of what was going on at the time. So, nothing that I'm going to complain about or anything like that. But to start the show off, Finn Balor says, "Hey, you guys got that out of your system. Now he's ready to play." And he's putting the belt on the line January 6th, New Year's Eve Evil, I believe it's what it's called. So that'll be cool. But, in the middle of his speech, he was interrupted by Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, Damian Priest, and then it just kind of set things off and started the show off with a little bit of a bang. But, to come out of that kind of a fire-up segment, not necessarily a match to start a show, you're going to dump on my breakfast plate Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Give me a break. Come on, guys. You're obviously not trying to win the battle. It's been said week after week on many different shows. But anyways, Jake Atlas gets the win over Isaiah Swerve Scott. After that, they had the Grizzly Young Veterans in it, which, in my opinion, was one of the better matches of the night, even though it was a little bit of chaos to start and to end. But they got the win over Imperium, Everrise. I mean, it was pretty decent, back and forth. I don't know what they're going with this, if this is going to be the new challengers for the tag titles or what's going to happen there. After that, the match of the night, Ciampa putting it on Cameron Grimes, basically explaining what I had to say, tired of Cameron Grimes, period. So, it was a good match, but he was a little bit of distraction with Thatcher sitting at ringside like Ciampa does to Thatcher. Now, not necessarily costing Ciampa the match, but it was a distraction. He still gets the win. After the match, Cameron Grimes trying to call out Thatcher, and he got punked out. So, it was nice to see him on my end get punked out twice. After that, Gargano made his trip to the ring for his victory celebration with his wife and another couple, Austin Theory, and the girl in the neck brace. That's what I want to call her. But anyways, they brag this, that, and the other. Basically, Damian Priest comes out and says, "Yo, you're not truly the champion. You're not nothing." We're starting to call him out, and bam, he returns, folks. That's right. Back from the injury, it's Karrion Kross. Yes, making his return to NXT. Whew, has he been missed? Hopefully he can spice things up, change things around, and we'll see what goes forward. Hopefully he'll be on the pay-per-view there in January. After that, they had Pete Dunne, the Orange Man, getting the win over Killian Dane. Man, if you guys have not seen this, go back and check it out. I'm sorry. Pete Dunne's a good talent, great athlete and all, but he is orange. That's right, orange. Somebody in the back's got to tell him that. I mean, it's so obvious, and it's not just, it's two different oranges, to be honest. So, check it out. It's crazy. After that, it was the main event of the evening, a match that I kind of looked forward to, and it wasn't bad. Raquel Gonzalez getting the win over Amber Moon. After the match, Toni Storm coming ringside to put a little bit of extra salt on Amber Moon, but not so fast, because Rhea Ripley was there to pull her friend out of the ring, and then getting a stare down with Gonzalez once again, building up the two big girls on NXT for another big throwdown, probably coming forth here January 6th, would be my opinion. But can't wait to see that. So once again, that was the follow-up show at NXT after War Games. Not too bad. We got some good things with Finn Balor, Karrion Kross returning, and obviously the big girls, nose to nose. That's gonna have to happen eventually. Well, it's finally the last show of the week, folks. AEW Dynamite, another show following up a semi-pay-per-view, we'll call. Winner is coming from last week, and the appearance of Sting! That's right, Sting is back at AEW, 2 years, but he showed up on this night not so much to threaten, but to let everybody know that he wasn't really sure what he's going to do just yet. And going forward, we know that he's got interest in Darby Allin, and Cody Rhodes has interest in him. So let me know what you think out there at E's and B's land. What should they do with Sting? I think, they're doing the right thing right now and keeping him as a mentor and keeping us guessing because it makes it interesting every week when he keeps coming back. To start the show off, they started off with a banger, Young Bucks up against TH2. They get the win, but after the match, the Acclaim ringside trying to jump in and maybe put a little bit of more salt and pepper on the Young Bucks after last week's shenanigans, but who's there to save the day? SCU. That's right, SCU coming to save the Young Bucks from getting jumped by the Acclaim after their very tough match with TH2. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it, especially all you fans that like that style of wrestling. Let me tell you, this whole night kept me interested. There was not a bad match on here, in my opinion. The slowest match probably was the third match, and we'll talk about that here in a second. After that, they had some vignettes. Then they had FTR, the best tag team in the business. That's right. Getting the win over one of my new upcoming favorite tag teams. That's right, the Varsity Blonde, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. And, I watched them on Dark this week, and they fought FTR, very, very well on this night. But on Dark, they got a win over Dark Order. And it was very impressive. But on Wednesday night here against FTR, Griff Garrison, bud, let me tell you, you got something going for you. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit here in the Scrambled Eggs, just coming up a little bit later. After that, like I said, the slowest match of the night, Dustin Rhodes, and the quickest match, Dustin Rhodes getting the win over number 10 of Dark Order. After the match, Evil entered the ring to propose to Dustin to join the Dark Order and be number 7. And for all you historians and wrestling fans out there, if you don't get it, look it up. 7 was a character Dustin Rhodes played back in the day. Wasn't one of his favorite characters, but he played it. So a little bit of an inside there. Unfortunately, Dustin Rhodes faked us all out, slapped Evil in the face, and said no way. They retreated, but they're not giving up. Just like they're not giving up on Hangman, because in the vignette through this show, Hangman is scheduled for a 6-man tag next week and has no partners. And lo and behold, there's Reynolds and Silver. So that ought to be interesting to see what happens with that. We know that the Dark Order likes to pull a lot of shenanigans and help out their people at ringside. So be interesting to see what happens there. Anyways, keeping things moving here, guys. Eddie Kingston and Butcher and Blade, and next up, getting the win over Lance Archer and the Lucha Brothers. This match was pretty good. Jake the Snake at the end. But the crazier part was, after it was all said and done, Lance Archer wasn't happy with the loss and comes back in the ring and took them all on. Just mass chaos. And, I kind of want to mention something about this. And to me, it's confusing because I think Pac needs to be here, not Lance Archer, right? Am I missing something? I thought we formed the Death Triangle last year. Then we complained all 6-8 months Pac wasn't allowed to come back because of COVID. Pac's finally back 3 weeks ago. Now Pac's gone again. What's going on? I have no clue. I've tried to look it up. I can't figure it out. If you know out there, let me know. Follow us at easeandbees.com. Give me a shout out. Tell me how dumb I am if you want. I just need to know what's going on with Pac here. Because it doesn't make sense that you're putting Lance Archer in this group, even though I know him and Eddie Kingston have a little beef going on right now. But let's be honest. It's the Death Triangle. It's not Lance Archer and the Lucha Brothers. So after that, they had Abaddon. That's right, Abaddon. RMP shout out. That's right, Abaddon gets to win over a new rookie, Tesha Price. She just looked scared from the get-go. Didn't look like she even wanted to be there. And Abaddon, afterwards, was going to do a little more damage, but Sheeta coming to save the day for Price. And it took Sheeta some courage to actually get in the ring to save the day with Abaddon in there, hitting Abaddon with a kendo stick, right square in the head. Abaddon drops to the floor. Sheeta gets her friend out, but Abaddon sits right up just like The Undertaker would and freaked everybody out, and I can't wait to see that match coming up. I think it's going to be outstanding. Abaddon's one of the most overlooked talents right now in the women's division, folks. She has the gimmick. She can wrestle. Let's face it. Put the belt on her. No, I'm just kidding. I can't wait to see what they do going forward with Abaddon. After that, it was the main event of the evening. That's right, the match everybody was waiting for. It was the AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring Final from last week. The last two people in the Battle Royal got transferred to this week, and it was MJF and Orange Cassidy. Well, I want to know, earlier in the night, the Inner Circle come to the ring to determine whether they're going to stick it out or break up for good. And I'm going to be honest, after seeing Sammy Guevara's vlog this week, I thought it was over. Shout out to Sammy, you're doing a great job. But on this situation, Sammy just straight up told Chris Jericho, if things go wrong, he's out. If it's sketchy, he's out. And he wasn't being no punk. He was telling them, not suggesting. But they hashed things out in the ring. Things were talked out. If you haven't seen it, go back, check it out. It was very entertaining. But anyways, it led up to this, the main event, where the Inner Circle followed MJF out to the ring. We all knew they were going to be there to help him out. But let's be honest, Orange Cassidy normally has the best friends with him, correct? That's kind of how he's won several of his matches. Things have happened to set those storylines up. But this match here was pretty good. MJF, being the best heel in the business, sold so well. But he also was all over Orange Cassidy, focusing on one hand, one object, and doing it for the whole match, just like an old classic wrestler would do. That's, JR and Tony Schiavone kept us entertained saying that. We know that back in the day, that's how you did it. You focused on an object, an arm, a leg, an ankle, a hand, and you focused on that, and you got the crowd invested in believing that you're really damaging this, and this person can't go forward without this. Well, it worked. It sold for the whole match. Because Cassidy has the orange punch, and we just figured, he can't use his hand. Well, he ends up using his hands. Things come to a bruff at the end with the bat. Floyd makes his entrance. MJF tries the old fake out, throws the bat to Orange Cassidy, hits the mat. Well, the ref still hasn't turned around. Orange Cassidy throws it on to him. Well, they didn't DQ him, which in normal you would think that would have been an automatic disqualification, but after that, some other shenanigans happened. MJF, after all the madness, all the craziest, with the Inner Circle and everything else going on, gets the pin and is still your AEW Dynamite ring holder for the second year in a row. Let me tell you this, folks. It was a great, great AEW show. They threw a bunch of different stuff at us. Let me just tell you. Inner Circle staying together. Sting comes out and talks a little bit. Shaq speaks. Brandy speaks. If you have not seen this AEW, go back and check it out, folks. It's worth the watch. And like I'm going to say, it's probably the best show of the week. No offense, SmackDown's holding a very close second. And I'm loving things that are going on with everybody else. But let's be honest, I think AEW right now, folks, has everybody's attention. Well, folks, it's that time of the week. We're going to jump into the meat segment where we got a special guest. That's right. It's my favorite part of the week. It's the meat segment. This week, we got a very special guest, folks. It's been a long time coming for this man to tell his story. That's right. I got David, AKA Remy D, heading off to Seth Rollins Camp. That's right. He's going to tell us all about it here in the meat segment. So just listen. As promised, ladies and gentlemen, I would never lie to you. This week we got something very special for you. It's somebody about to turn their life around. They're setting off. They're going to be the only other better thing in Iowa besides Seth Rollins. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you, David. How's it going, my man?
Good. What's up, E? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just holding it down here, getting closer to the Christmas, holiday season, all the good things, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. For my listeners out there that are wondering what's going on, well, I brought David on. I met him a while back, and he had shared his business with me and let me know that he was making a venture in his life, and it caught my attention. And David, I'd like for you to explain to my listeners out there what you're fixing to do here coming up very shortly.
Well, yes, coming up in probably for the next 4 or 5 weeks, I have been blessed with the honor of attending the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. That is coached and owned by Seth Rollins and also Merrick Brave in Davenport, Iowa. So starting January 6th is my first class, 2021. We're going for it.
Man, that sounds amazing. Let me ask you, what made you make this decision, David?
You know, as we all are, 2020 sucked ass and not in a good way. And a lot of us are going to have to, reevaluate, reinvent, and kind of reset ourselves as far as career goes and how to, pursue dreams and take care of our families and whatnot. So, just after a series of things that have even affected me, unfortunately, I lost my father to COVID very early on in April of this year, and almost lost my mom and my grandmother too. So that kind of experience kind of made me realign and kind of made me refocus what I want in my life. And as far as, life is too short for regrets. And just revisiting things that I wanted to always pursue, but my family was kind of against it a little bit. So I just figured it was time to launch into the deep. I put in an application, not even figuring or thinking that I would be accepted. I mean, it's Seth Rollins' school, right. And, because they have, someone was telling me that I was reading, they have a waiting list too. So I just, submitted. 2 days later, they were like, hey, we wanted to offer you the last spot. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Well, it's just well, that escalated quickly. So I'm flabbergasted. So I'm then it went through the whole process of everything, the deposit and all that stuff. So it's been crazy. It's been fast forward ever since then. So.
Right. And like I got here, it's probably pretty wild, not including what's going on in the world. Let's just eliminate that. You're fixing to quit a 9 to 5 or let's say a normal person's job is about to end, and you're about to go set forth for your dream. And it's going to be a lot of hard work. We know that. But let my listeners know out there, why wrestling?
I mean, for me, that's always been a constant, first, I'm born and raised in Detroit. So, we had the stereotypical stuff that we loved growing up and everything, the TV shows and everything. But I was always that quirky kid that loved everything that was outside of the norm. I was that kid watching Sci-Fi Channel, watching Dark Shadows, watching the Bill Bixby version of Incredible Hulk. That was my get down. And so with wrestling, that turned into my my safe haven. And it was I would never had friends because I was just a quirky. That's why I was a quirky brother. That was my nickname growing up. I was just so different. Everyone was into Biggie, Pac, and everything. I love that stuff too, but I just love just everything that was different. And I remember the first time I saw a promo with Taker. It was between Taker. I think it was the funeral parlor with Taker and Ultimate Warrior. And it was just just the whole, I'm just just entranced by
it sucked you in, right?
Yeah, I'm what the fuck is going on? Why does this dude look like he's hasn't seen daylight since God knows how long? Because that was the sci-fi aspect that kind of drew me into it. And then I just kept following the storylines, figuring out what the actual wrestling was. But I didn't really start to understand and appreciate it for the business that it is until about 96, 97, probably around Undertaker, Mankind, Buried Alive era.
Okay. Yeah. Well, with that being said, then let's just jump right to it. Here, one of the questions I got written down. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
The one and only Mr. Mark Calloway. Now, I can say that now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely.
Always and forever.
That's awesome. I wish I would have had this pre-trained a little bit better. We went the whole month last month, 30 years of Undertaker. It's been an amazing ride. There's definitely somebody that hasn't changed, or that he's the first person that's changed it gimmick-wise that I can remember in my lifetime in wrestling. And, you can't go wrong with him. That's pretty cool.
For sure. I mean, and there's other, like, more meaningful, like, deeper meanings, like my vested value and my respect and my admiration towards him. But yeah, we probably get into that later. But
definitely. All right, so moving right along here, David, I got a couple good questions for you. Maybe switch it up for you. As you know, this is a breakfast-related wrestling sports podcast. My listeners out there want to know, if you had the chance to go have breakfast with any person, dead or alive, wrestling, who would it be?
And I can only pick one?
Yeah, one person only. Dead or alive, though.
Oh, my goodness.
It could be somebody that influences your wrestling career, or just somebody that you wished as a kid growing up just to meet them one time and never got the chance.
Honestly, to get a little deep, most recently, it would probably have to be Pat Patterson.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's touching real close. Obviously, we just lost him. And, yeah. I mean, I explained to my wife and everybody back here what he meant to the game. He's definitely a big influencer, and that's a good answer. What would you be having?
Oh, say that again for me?
What would you be having to eat?
Oh. See, I'm gonna have to be a little bougetto, so that's what I like to call bougie and ghetto together. So we probably have a nice filet mignon, nice, medium rare, but also have like some mac and cheese, or like some collard greens on the side too. It's just like a good combination together.
All right. Switching it up. All right, David, jumping back into what we brought you on for, going to the Seth Rollins camp. Can you tell my listeners out there, what's your goal set for this right now?
Ultimately, like I said, I'm ready to launch into the deep, and I'm really just passionate about seeing if I can really make this, this dream, make it reality. Because honestly, it's like I really wanted to pursue it when I was 18, just get ready to graduate college, or not college, high school. And like I said, my family, just being in Detroit, they were very realist. They're like, you got into a good college, boy, go make your money, get your paper and keep it moving. And I respect my elders. And so that's what I did for the past 15 years. But looking back, if I would have pursued it back in when I was 18, because I was kind of overweight, well, more than kind of, I was really overweight. I didn't have the discipline or the life lessons that I have now. And some people may think it's like a disadvantage because I'm 34 now. But I won't have to go through all the bullshit of making mistakes of when I was in my 20s. I have war scars of life and experience of, I've in college, I was a cheerleader for 5 years. I've done stunt work over the years in the past 15 years. I've worked with some amazing trainers that I've come in contact with to move into Colorado. So it's just like everything life has set up. It seems like there's been a season for everything to set up to this point. I don't believe in coincidences or luck. Just the way everything, or me being accepted and then the prep, and then how resources and everything are becoming available to me to be able to continue to, while I'm there, to be able to support myself is just crazy. And especially in the midst of a pandemic. So.
Definitely. Yeah. That's what I like to shine the light here on the unknown and unseen, because even though we are in a pandemic, there are a lot of good things that are still happening. And yeah, this year's about over, we'll put it behind us, but that sounds amazing. And it's definitely a seeable goal. But what I want my listeners to know is I hope that we can touch base, about halfway through. And then when you're done, and let's see where you progressed. And let's see how your goal has changed. That's my goal here on the E's and B's podcast with you, David, is to see what you progress in the future going forward, going to this camp. I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing, a very great, exciting adventure for yourself. And as you spoke, everything seems to be lining up and fitting in to what could be big, really, really big. So I hope that's the big picture for everything. And keeping things rolling here, David, I'm going to ask you another crazy one. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Power to make people tell the truth. Because I'm allergic to bullshit. I really am.
So, aren't we all? The no lie serum. All right, that's perfect. Yeah, okay. Well, could you tell my listeners a little bit maybe about your gimmick going forward here in the future?
Yeah, so you know what? So kind of a funny little tidbit. So I have been like all of my life, I've always been like, I was always like the chubby kid. I was like the chubby kid because I love Twinkies and Wonder Bread growing up. But I always had like the cute, like little face, like the cute chubby face. So everyone would call me that's the pretty baby, like the pretty boy, whatever. So all my life, that's been like my kind of like Bert and the Bear kind of thing. Even now in my 30s, people's just like, oh, you like, even people like, I mean, they're like, oh, you're such a pretty man. And I'm like, thanks, I guess. But So growing up, like if people, some of the listeners are familiar with the TV show Martin, there was a character named Pretty Ricky that I was like obsessed with. So I wanted to adopt that moniker and use that because that was like the funniest thing and kind of wanted my character to have like a little bit of a kind of like Cat Williams comedic value to it a little bit. But then fucking Ricochet changes his tag on Twitter to Pretty Ricky. I'm like, dude, really? Like, is somebody listening to my conversation somewhere?
Yeah, somebody's in your head, I think, right? Yeah. Well, that's
so now, yeah. So we threw that out the door. So I think for moving now, I want to be using the name Remi D. I love the name Remi because of its like New Orleans origin, and also I'm a big X-Men fan, and that's Gambit's first name. So yeah, and then D just because for David. Dominating that guy. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that things could obviously change, but you got to start somewhere. And obviously your feet are definitely both planted into this, ready to go. It's going to be exciting and I can't wait. So we'll definitely keep touching base and see how things change in the future. But I'm not ready just quite yet to let you go here on the E's and B's. I got a couple more questions before I let you go. I got something crazy and something a little bit serious. If you could choose, who would you have produce you or make you your theme music for your walkout entrance?
Oh, Lord. I mean, is Jim Johnson still available?
I mean, it could be anybody. It could be your favorite rapper, your favorite country star, your favorite rock star. It doesn't matter. But they're writing it, singing it, producing it, and it's your new song coming up.
Oh, you know, I can't say an actual person, but I would love if someone that's very experienced with like Japanese culture, with like more so Japanime, kind of like K-poppy stuff, with like a little bit of like a street edge to it. Because my character is definitely going to be something kind of like very eccentric, very extra, but it's not forced. It's very kind of think it's sort of like Jim Carrey from the Riddler from Batman Forever.
Okay.
It's like he's like talking bullshit, but if you really listen, he's actually speaking
very smart.
Truth.
Yeah.
Very smart. Yeah. And I kind of hide behind I would love to start off as a manager and hide behind these two behemoth like men and just be the voice piece. But until you put your hands on me, then I'm going to have to chin check you.
I gotcha.
All right, yeah. All right. So yeah, someone who's experienced with that because I love the culture and like the fashion and like just the style of like in Tokyo. It's just awesome.
Man, all right. Lots of different angles, lots of different styles. I think there's a possibility that you throw this together, that it could be the new big thing 2021. I'm just saying. I'll take it. I'll own it. All right. Well, before I let you go, David, I got one more serious one for you. Obviously, it's the month of giving, being that it's the holiday season. So what would be one thing that you could give that you can't give right now?
One thing I could give that I can give right now? Mm-hmm. I would say respect. Just respect for everything, like across the board. Just respect what people do, how they live their lives, what they choose to pursue, who they associate with. I mean, you may not. That's kind of like a hard one, but it's like at the end of the day, we all have free will, and if we're not killing anyone, ending up in jail, or taking away from someone else's plate or their money to provide for their family, then live and let live.
Man, I can 100% agree, David. We could go on days and days about that. Listen, it's been an honor and pleasure having you on. Like we spoke, I'm going to be touching base with you about halfway through. We're going to get an update. We're going to stay in touch, and hopefully we can contact at the end so my listeners out there know exactly how it is going from point A to point C and building that goal and that dream that you're working for. Before I let you go, David, is there anything you'd like to tell my listeners out there?
Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you stick with me. And like he said, hopefully we'll pull it into the atmosphere that this new idea, this presentation, this visualization of myself is going to happen. So we'll see what's up.
All right, folks, that's going to be the Remy D. David Blevins once again. Thanks again, folks. Once again, it was an honor, buddy. Until next time.
Peace.
All right, brother. We'll catch you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julia, one half of the Wrestling Sisters, and you're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about Match of the Week. The match of the week is MJF versus Orange Cassidy for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And these are my pros and cons of the match. So first, we're going to start out with the cons. To begin with, I really wanted there to be an upset. I wanted Orange Cassidy to get the ring and upset the whole Inner Circle and MJF and everything. Another thing I'm really disappointed is I was expecting someone to throw in Floyd the Bat, and someone was going to use Floyd and win the match. Next thing, there was no really good build-up to this match. There was no good... I mean, there was, of course, there was the Battle Royal, and then there was no really good build-up besides the Battle Royal. So I just really think that there was no good build-up to this match. The next thing is I'm just so confused with the end and what happened at the very end of this whole match and everything. It's just got me spinning, wondering what's going to happen next. A next thing so I have this on my pros as well. It's that this whole feud could go on forever. This could go on for like a very long time, and I'm saying that this is in my pros as well because sometimes matches that go on for a long time can be really bad or they can be really good. So that's why I have it in both. So next is my pros. My one thing about the pros is the very end. Though it confused me, I really enjoyed how the end went with the whole Miro and Kip Sabian and all the refs and all the security guards. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I liked the part of the match where it was so it had all the people. That's actually another thing, that they had all the tag teams. They had Best Friends, of course. Since there was the whole Inner Circle with Wardlow and Sammy and Jericho and Ortiz and Hager, they had to get more people just in case there was a big situation. So I liked how they had Griff Garrison and Pillman Jr., and they also had, I think they had Billy Gunn and Little Gunn out there, whatever his name is, and I think that's it. And then another thing that I really liked is the war that happened during the match. How everybody just started going at each other and just fighting and going on with it. And I thought that was a pretty good part of the match because it's like, wow, look at all these people fighting. Another thing, as I said earlier, that this could go on forever. So that's another really good and bad thing. And that's really it. That's why I think that this should have been Match of the Week. I would like to thank you all for listening. I'd like to give a big shout out to Miles Shook for subscribing. Please listen to us. Please follow us on anywhere where you get your podcasts. And spread the word. Thanks for listening. Bye.
That's right. AKA REMI. Man, that was so much fun. I wish him the best. I cannot wait to catch up with him halfway through. And then, like I said, hopefully we can catch up with him at the end of his training and see what he's progressed on, what he's changed. Who knows? He might not even be Remy D. He could be so many things. I can't wait. But it was so great having him here, and I can't wait to have him back. After that, folks, we're going to dive right into The scrambled egg segment, folks. That's right, scrambled eggs this week. We got just a few things to talk about, and then we'll jump right into the toast with Lauren. She's got a couple shout-outs, a couple things to talk about, and also some reminders. But this week on the scrambled egg segment, folks, I want to talk, like I was saying earlier, a little bit about a few things. Start right off here with the Varsity Blondes. We know this. Griff Garrison's a young, new green talent. Same with Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman Jr., though, we know has the hereditary family wrestling background, so that we know those ties. But I've been keeping my eye on these guys here recently, and like I said, they've been very impressive on Dark and now on Dynamite. But that's not even to even strike a resemblance of what's been going on with those guys, because Brian Pillman Jr. has been super busy outside of just AEW. We know he has other ties. But just last weekend, as you guys heard here on the E's and B's podcast, if you had nothing to do, OVW Christmas Chaos went down, and my man Brian Pillman Jr. is now OVW Heavyweight Champion. That's right. So we've got a OVW Heavyweight Champion on AEW Dynamite. I think that's huge. I think they should bring that up. I really wish they would, but that's why I'm bringing it up here. You know, some of them things go unseen. Big shout out to Al Snow and everything he does over there at OVW. Big shout out to Mercury Yade and everything he does at RMP here. And shout out to all the Al Snow Academy out there, because I think they're going unseen more than they should be. You know, they're putting in the effort, they're putting in the work, and, you know, they're bringing in these talents from outside, and it's only making their people that much better. I mean, you know, Flying Brian Pillman Jr., excuse me if I said Flying Brian, but it's just a habit. You know, him showing up, and not only him, Ace Austin was at Christmas Chaos. Ace Austin from Impact, he's a huge star at Impact. You know, my 11-year-old daughter loves him, thinks he's the best thing about Impact. I beg to differ, but, you know, that's things I want to talk about more going forward here on the E's and B's. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to have Mercury Yaden back on very soon, hopefully in 2021. Hopefully one day I'll get Al Snow on here or some other OVW talent. I'd love to shine on you guys. So if you're out there listening, you know, hit me up. E's and B's podcast at Gmail. You know, we'll get something worked out. You know, I love shining the light on these smaller guys doing the bigger things. And not to say that Brian Pillman's a smaller guy, because we all know he's on TV every week now, whether he's in the ring or in the crowd. But big shout out to him. Big shout out to OVW. Big shout out to Charge last week. Rocky Mountain Pro putting on another Charge taping. Them guys got a lot going on as well. I know this. My boy Jumbo, who was on just several weeks ago, you know, he lost his title, Chongo Bronson, but he comes in a 4-way match last week and destroys some people, and now is calling out my boy Bruce Waynes. You know, I can't wait to see what happens there. We know that the women's division's tightening up a little bit over there at RMP. The tag division is now got some new contenders with the 3-ring circus coming about and some other things going on over there at RMP. So, you know, I'll keep a close eye on that. If you guys don't know, you can follow them on Twitch every weekday from 11 to 1. 2 hours of rewind. Get caught up on all the old stuff. See some of the old Otis tapes. Maybe go back in the archives. All that good stuff. Follow them on Rocky Mountain Twitch. Follow them at Rocky Mountain Pro. You know, they got a lot of cool things going on. Like I said many, many weeks ago, I can't wait to get to one of their events. And like I said last week with Scotty, I'm going to get down to the training facility and get my fat butt in shape one of these days. That's my goal anyhow. So after that, here on the Scrambled Eggs, guys, I just got one more thing I really wanted to talk about, and that's what's coming up tomorrow night. Impact Final Resolution. That's right. It's on Impact Plus. Also, another one of those subscription things, so if you don't have it, it's not very expensive. Go out there and get it. It'll be worth your while going in the future. They've got several matches lined up. We'll run through those really quick, but what I want to brag about is, you know, and scramble about, I want to scramble things up with this Impact AEW. You know, I hope going forward in 2021, they're going to merge some things, because right now, if they was to merge their 2 women division, we'd have chaos. I mean, it'd be a good thing. If they was to merge their tag team divisions, I want to, you know, do some fantasy booking here real quick, guys. You know, let's just imagine that AEW and Impact merge and they have a new title made up, you know, Because we know there used to be the United States tag titles, and, they don't really have that no more anywhere. But, not to steal something from Matt Cardona, but like something like an interstate title, a traveling title, tag titles, excuse me, that would be outstanding in my opinion. And then you can merge these guys and, set up a tournament. The best 20 teams and single elimination until you have a champion. And then going forward in the future on other pay-per-views that you guys could merge on, you could have that title challenged by the other brand. Just a lot of good things that could go forth. Let me know what you guys think on them two maybe merging, in the future, maybe not merging in the future. Let's just hear what you guys got to say. I want to hear it out there, all you E's and B's fans. But, like I said, Impact Final Resolution going down tomorrow night. The Sea Stars in the semifinals of the Knockout Tag Title Tournament. They're going to go up against Havoc and Nevaeh, Hernandez, and Fa La 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 Ba 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 Ba. Yeah, that's right. Them two are still battling over some money. Raja, I have a hard time with his name. His challenge is still out there. His ex-title challenge is still on the line. I think his days are numbered. After that, they're going to have Eric Young taking on the famous Rhino. My boy Rhino, I hope he puts his hands on Eric Young. Eric Young's been running rough shop over at Impact here recently. Then we're going to have an old school rules match with Larry D and Tommy Dreamer. That's all falling back to that silly skit where Johnny Bravo got shot at the wedding, yada, yada, yada. Don't really need to talk about that. After that, the other match I'm not too fond of. That's right, another mixed gender tag, but this time it has a little bit of a meaning. It's Nelly Dashwood and Caleb with the K. They're taking on Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards, because we know Alicia was not happy with some things that happened to Eddie, and she's taking her anger out on these girls, and I think it's a cool thing that they're fighting together as a couple, but like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of the mixed gender matches. It just rubs me the wrong way. After that, they got the women's knockout title on the line. Rosemary going up against Peraza. Now, Peraza, she better have her shit together, because I'm telling you, Rosemary's coming, and she's scary. After that, another crazy match. Carl Anderson going up against Ethan Page, two good brothers. That ought to be a good match there. And then the main event of the evening, Chris Bay going up against the defending Impact champion, Rich Swann. Let's be honest. I mean, we've seen this match once, but I like both these guys. The true scrambled question here, folks, is Kenny going to show up? Because at the end of Impact last Tuesday, Rich Swann tried to exit the building and was not allowed because the champ had it marked off, AKA Kenny Omega had it marked off. And Rich didn't look very happy about that. So it should be very interesting going forward, seeing if Kenny, sticks his nose in where it doesn't belong. I wouldn't be against a Rich Swann Kenny Omega fight. What about you guys? Let me know. Hey, that's about all I got here on the E's and B's Scrambled segment. But coming up next, folks, that's right, it's Lauren. I'm bringing Lauren back. We're going to dive into the toast. Tell you what we got coming up. Tell you what we got going forward. And let you know what you need to know. So stay tuned. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. The bacon and eggs of pro wrestling and sports. Alright, that's right. Everybody's favorite segment. It's the toast. Get out your jams, get out your jelly. Spread the butter. That's right. This week, once again, bringing back Lauren. Lauren, how's it going?
It's going very well. Friday once again. It's snowing here in Colorado. Much needed, so I'm happy to have that.
Most definitely. Making it feel like the Christmas and the holiday season for sure.
Absolutely.
Hey, we only got 2 more Fridays left, guys. We got a lot of stuff here to talk about real quick on this toast segment. Just want to let you know that going into Christmas week, we will be doing something a little bit different, Lauren.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a Thursday show.
Thursday. Yeah,
Christmas Eve we'll be dropping an episode, so in 2 weeks, be on the lookout on Thursday for your favorite breakfast, the E's and B's podcast. All right, Lauren, we got some shout-outs to give out this week. Like I said on the meat segment, we had AKA Remi D, David Blevins, big shout out. Love having him on. Can't wait to see what goes forward in his future with the Seth Rollins camp, Lauren. It's gonna be very, very interesting.
I'm excited to see he's gonna go places.
Definitely. Like I said, I hope we get to talk to him at the end, and he's not restricted or anything, because that's going to be cool to see the beginning, the middle, and the end of his story.
What do they make those people sign? A
waiver,
or like a D&D.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be something, something like that, especially
agreement,
being that Seth Rollins is tied with WWE. But we'll wait and find out, hopefully, here in the future. Another shout out there, Miles Shook. Thank you for signing up. Big shout out. I know my daughter Julia loves that. Going forward, we'll make sure that you follow us on all the elements out there: YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Deezer. Go ahead, Lauren. What else we got?
Patreon. Apple Podcasts. iTunes is still out there. Spotify, iHeartRadio.
Anywhere you find your podcast at.
There's something called Bullhorn that people use.
We're not even sure what it is, but hey, we're on it.
I'm in the process of getting us on Pandora as well. So if you're a Pandora fan out there, you'll be able to binge E's and B's here soon. So
can't wait. Also, don't forget, guys, every week leading up to Christmas, Lauren, we're giving something away, and I want to give a huge shout out to Big Jimbo Extreme. He's our t-shirt winner from last week.
Yeah.
He'll be receiving that probably not before Christmas. That's our fault. It's a little hard with the COVID stuff going on to get all this timely stuff sent in the mail. So be on the lookout, but a big shout out once again at Big Jimbo Extreme, buddy. Thank you so much for following.
Thank you.
And that's right. Tomorrow we're going to have another special video, so be sure you're following us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We put videos up of the interviews every week. We also put special unboxing videos and other crazy stuff.
Behind the scenes. There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube as well as Patreon. $2 a month.
That's right.
Nice and easy.
Very, very cheap for 2 eggs, if you ask me.
Well,
Lauren, as far as shout-outs, that's all I've got. What do you got going on?
Okay, so my shout-outs, of course, is going to be our top 10 cities of the week, which have changed a little bit, as usual. There are a few other cities that didn't make the list, but I do want to mention them, because big thanks out there to all our fans.
Absolutely.
I'm starting backwards this week. I'm going to start with number 10. So, starting our list off at 10 is Newcastle, Indiana. 9 is Bloomington, Indiana. A lot of Indiana folks out there. Thanks.
That's right.
Number 8, Chicago, Illinois. 7 is Anderson, Indiana. 6, back on the top 10. I'm so happy to see you guys again. Washington, Virginia. Where have you been?
Shout out to Washington, Virginia.
Thanks for coming back. We missed you. 5, Paradise, Nevada. 4, Cliché, France.
Cliché, pardon.
3 is Carmel, Indiana, I guess. 2, Fort Collins, Colorado. And number 1, our lovely old hometown of Denver, Colorado. The Mile High City, 303.
Thank you to all you great listeners out there.
Yes.
We gladly appreciate it. Keep spreading the butter, passing the gravy, making sure you tell all your friends.
Thanks for sharing with a friend. I do have a couple honorable mentions that didn't quite make the top 10. So, starting off those cities, it's going to be Spokane, Washington. I don't know how to say this. I'm probably going to botch it, but it's something like Gusenhausen, Bavaria.
Gusenhausen.
Sounds really cool. Sorry if I messed that up.
Once again, thank you for listening. We love you.
Centennial, Colorado. Aurora, Colorado. Floral Park, New York. Gravesend, New York. And Brussels.
Right on. Pushing that East Coast.
That's right.
We love our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Keep spreading the word. Every Friday you can find us.
That's right, Lauren. And also, don't forget, check out the merch page. We got all kinds of good stuff going on. We appreciate all the business.
Updated. Yep.
Definitely.
Support small and local businesses. Even if we're not local, it's still a small business. This is tough times we're trying to get through.
That's right. That's right. We appreciate all the love. Like she said, support small. That's what we love.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Well, once again, it's that time. We appreciate everybody out there. Continue to listen. And like I always say, don't forget to eat your breakfast.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah! Happy holidays!